In today's lesson, we are going to be discussing a skill that is necessary and I believe everybody needs to know. What to do in the event of a zombie apocalypse and how to survive. So let's jump straight into it. So to begin, the zombie apocalypse, the keyword there, zombie. Zombies are spreading. Zombies are, most people will consider reanimated corpses, right? Corpses. Reanimated corpses. Or others would say the living undead. Either of those terms work, but if you come in contact with a zombie, you are cooked. Anyway, so today we're going to be discussing the scientific and practical ways to survive a zombie apocalypse. To begin, we have to discuss the anatomy of a zombie, right? Don't want to pull Picasso here, but zombies are the same structure as a human would be. 2 hands, 2 feet, a mouth, a nose, eyes, brain. Even if some of them don't work, they still possess them. So, zombies look like any other humans. So, the first thing that we need to discuss is the main method of infection that you need to steer clear of. Zombie's mouth. Okay, so zombie mouth. And the reason why I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, in the zombie's mouth, it transfers zombie it transfers the zombie plague, okay? It also transfers transfers bacteria. So even if you don't necessarily get infected by the plague, you're gonna be given bacteria, germs, any nasty stuff. And in the case of a zombie apocalypse, the chances that you find a good doctor with proper tools, medicine, it's pretty low. So I wouldn't risk getting bitten anyways. So yes, the mouth is the zombie's main method of infection that you most definitely need to steer clear of. That is why, in order to not get bitten, what you need to do, you need to you need protection all across your body because protection. So you need headgear and body gear. Because this mouth does not only need to transfer to your like arms per se, they could get you at your neck, they could get you at your legs, arms, as I said, your hand maybe, and you only have ample time before it spreads, right? So let's say you are hypothetically bitten, okay? Let's say you're hypothetically bitten here. If you realize that you're bitten, you know that the virus is going to spread up your blood vessels quickly into your brain, reaching your brain is going to shut it off, and you die. Except you're a zombie, but you still die. So within the next, it's sort of like a venomous bite of a snake. Now, in this case, it's different because the zombie virus, it sort of varies. It could be slow, it could be fast, it could be immediate, and it could be sort of like in World War Z. When you're bitten, you have around 5 minutes before you completely turn. And not in this case. You might need to either straight up chop off your arm. You need to, yeah, that's pretty much your only option. So avoid getting bitten. Okay. Now, we have to go to another part of the zombie's anatomy, which is their eyes and their ears. These are their sensory, so eyes, and ears. So these are their sensory indicators, right? They're sensory indicators. So the ears and eyes, pretty self-explanatory. As I said, the eyes will pick up, pick up motion, right? So notice how the eyes and ears, they're very, very enhanced. However, in some zombies, they don't necessarily have the effective ones. Some may be blind and only have ears. Some may be deaf and only have eyes. But either way, they're both intensified. The eyes are intensified. The ears are intensified. And in fact, the nose is intensified. So let's go ahead and add the nose down here. Eyes, nose, eyes, and ears. So the eyes basically pick up motion. The ears detect nearby sound. And the nose smells blood. You see, what I'm doing right now is giving the general overview of a zombie. But let's pause for a second. And let's give the different types of possible zombies that we may encounter. So zombies may arise from nuclear, for example, radiation, right? Radiation. So in theory, with this, they won't necessarily be they are not virus based, right? Yet they do have mutations in their DNA, mutations in their genes that may spark them to be brain dead, right? And then another type, your classic, would be the viral infection, huh? Viral infection. Now this is on the cellular level. I mean, there's a mutation in the cells itself that may spark to be brain dead, right? So we could say it's also a genetic mutation, but something that actually affects your entire body, right? The nuclear radiation, I guess it could be like, I don't know, an RNA or a timing dimer or something, right? But in the viral infection, it's sort of spreading from cell to cell to cell to cell to cell. But the mutations of nuclear radiation may only affect the brain, right? So this one could be cell to cell, and it spreads really fast. Rapid spread, okay? Rapid spread. Rapid spread. So as I said, these are the 2 types that we have, and there should be one more. So we have The last one should be your Halloween zombies, right? So you have the undead zombies. Even though they're all like this, these ones are, excuse me, are already dead and mutilated. So these are your three types of zombies that you have, okay? The nuclear radiation zombie, where radiation may play a factor in mutating the brain or anybody anywhere else. A viral infection, the cellular level one, where it goes from cell to cell and it spreads rapidly. And then the undead one, your classic Halloween, where it's dead, probably mutilated, and straight up just a dead corpse. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go back to how the zombie is 10 times better than mutant. So the last thing that we have about the zombies is their legs. Legs and arms. Their limbs, okay? So their limbs feel no pain, so they could break and regrow, right? So we should write that down. So you have these ones, legs and arms, right? So as I said, they feel no pain whatsoever. No pain. Remember how zombies, they can get their arm cut off and it regrows? This may not always be the case, but they don't always feel pain. So it necessarily wouldn't stop them, but I mean it could slow them down, probably could nerf them by not having a limb. I guess that works. But either way, they feel no pain, right? And since they feel no pain, they have basically no lactic acid produced, which won't make their muscles sore. So I guess they could also run, right? They have superhuman strength, run faster, and much stronger, right? So zombies are much stronger and basically have no pain in their limbs, which is another reason why we're cooked if you come in contact with a zombie, right? So now we're on to the best part, right? The math. There's math involved. That's correct. So when you're going up against a zombie face to face, you gotta know the math. So here's our little formula you should probably know. You probably won't have a calculator in a zombie apocalypse, but straight at this: y is greater than z, right? So it's pretty self-explanatory. Y is your speed, and then z is the zombie speed. Yeah? Zombie speed. So with this in mind, think about it like this: if y is greater than z, you can create distance, huh? Distance, right? But if z is greater than y, you're cooked. No, I'm just kidding. But you have to use resources, right? No, you have to use resources like your physical speed, right? You have to probably exert yourself 10 times more than you usually do, right? And you also have to use like barriers or try to do something in order to make that zombie speed equal to yours, basically. So examples would be like as I said, traps, barriers, elevation, anything like that that would create space or reduce the zombie speed. So here's a little example, right? Okay, so this is you, right? And you are running at 6 meters a second, right? Now let's say this is a zombie, right? And it's going at 4 meters a second, right? You have the advantage. You're running much faster, right? Now remember, this only counts if there's a single zombie chasing you. If there's multiple, I mean, in theory, you should still be able to outrun them if they were all at 4 meters per second, but I'm assuming zombie speeds vary. There's going to be some who are faster, some who are slower, some who are mutilated, some have no legs, some have no arms. So it varies. It generally. Now, okay. Here, let's say your speed is still 6, but now the zombie speed is 6. Is also going to be 6. This means that there's going to be the exact distance between you. For example, let's say you're 5 feet ahead. Actually, no, 5 meters ahead. Okay, let's say you're 5 ahead. Okay, let's say you're 5 meters ahead. Okay, so 5 meters ahead, right? With this little 5 meters, you should be able to maintain distance and not get caught for as long as your body can run. If you're a cross-country kid, good on you. You're probably going to survive. But you need to remember how we were talking about how these guys, they feel no pain in their legs and basically don't release any lactic acid that would stop them from running. Yeah, you do. So you're probably cooked. So what you need to do is, as I said, create barriers. If it's faster than you, you need to use your physical resources. Use barriers, as I said, barriers, traps, elevation, right? Anything that would give you the upper hand. So when you're running away from the zombie, you always need to consider the new factor within this, stamina, right? So it's basically, you're like, this is probably wrong, but stamina is basically multiplied by your speed, right? And if you don't have good stamina, you're cooked, okay? So as long as stamina would be how long you can run without needing to stop. But we'll cover that in another video. Anyway, so all you have to do is get creative. You need to use your resources, use barriers, use traps. So it's distance over time and stamina, right? That's pretty much what it is. So we'll cover that in another video. But that's how the math of surviving a zombie apocalypse is used. Now, there's more to this, but I'll cover this in a second video. This is just a preliminary overview of surviving a zombie apocalypse. In the next video, we will be covering safe zones. Thank you. Thank you for joining this lesson. I appreciate you watching. Have a good one.